Joining me now on In the Middle with Principal Hayward is Norton Middle School physical education teacher and coach, Mr. Rob May. Mr. May is a graduate of Springfield College and has been teaching at Norton Middle School since September of 2013. Mr. May is a team player and is also the specialist team leader. Mr. May is one of many young, talented teachers in the Norton Public School system that brings a positive attitude and high energy to work each day. I'm pleased to have Mr. Rob May on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming on. Okay, so one of the big things, and you got the pullover here.
Have to represent.
Norton Wrestling, have to represent.
Yep.
The season's underway.
Yep.
How has the first few days been, or how has the first few weeks been going and such since we started?
Yeah, well, we actually had our first practice on Friday.
Okay.
And it was, I was really impressed and proud of our guys. I think we have a great crew. A lot of leadership from our 8th graders, and I'm looking forward to the season. So I think we're going to do a lot of good things.
Yeah. One thing about wrestling more than any other sport is, people play hockey, play basketball, play baseball, but people will tell me I'm a wrestler.
Yeah.
They literally describe it as like who they are.
Yeah.
I mean, the only people who says I'm a hockey player, someone's on the Bruins. Otherwise, these kids, I play hockey, I play this. But a kid will come and say, I'm a wrestler.
Yeah.
What is that? Where does that come from? Because it's not just here. It's like almost everywhere.
Well, I think it's the nature of the sport really encompasses your whole life.
Yeah.
So it's a mentality that you have to live on and off the mat.
Yeah.
So because it is a team sport and an individual sport, I think that atmosphere really creates a unique dynamic that you're not going to see in other sports. So everybody has to pull for each other to get that team win, but you're also competing for yourself.
Yeah.
And when you get to the high school level and we have weight classes and things like that, obviously it's going to affect your diet and your nutrition and your training. So you really have to take it anywhere you go. And I think
so sometimes when you leave practice, your work has just begun.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So you have to worry about what you're eating. You can't really relax and just, say, it's tough practice. I'm going to go stuff my face with whatever. You really have to worry about what you're eating, but not only the diet and the nutrition. I think wrestling is it's tough physically and mentally. In order to get out on the mat with somebody else, in front of everybody else, when you lose.
The singlet was a big turn off. I was a smaller guy that wanted me to wrestle.
Right.
I didn't want to put the singlet on, but that's
exactly. Well, but so I think you have to give your opponents a lot of respect, and you understand what it takes to get out there on the mat, and so you have respect for your teammates and your opponents, and it's humbling, I find. So I think, it's definitely something that's a mentality rather than just kind of what you do.
Yeah, it becomes like an identity. What's your own background in sports and athletics?
Well, I played, a lot of sports growing up, youth sports, and baseball, football, never really hockey. I'm from Long Island, so it wasn't too popular down there. And I got into wrestling like most people do. I was cut from my middle school basketball team.
Okay.
And so then I just went out, gave wrestling a shot, and it stuck. So, and then in high school, again, later, I kind of just slowly, I did baseball for a little while too in high school, but slowly just really found that wrestling was my love. So,
And so now you're doing something you love, and it's also your job. Which is, perfect.
Win-win there.
Yeah. So my favorite time in education was when I was at Holbrook and I was a physical education teacher. And I'm not going to say just a physical education teacher because I'm a principal now. To me, that was like the high point. I interacted with every kid, and I really thought I impacted their day. Their day and stuff. So I'm going to ask you just a question. Would you rather have a horrible job and be able to retire in 10 years comfortably, or have your dream job but have to work every day of your life?
I have my dream job and have to work every day. Obviously, if you love what you're doing, it doesn't feel like work. So,
I think that's I actually think that's the right answer to this question.
If there is a right answer.
If there is a right answer, you might have just got it. You're currently working on a master's degree. Am I right?
I have a master's.
Oh, you
degree.
have your
I've
master's,
completed my
but
master's,
you're
yes.
working on something else. You've been doing
Yeah.
some work with our teams and stuff.
Yeah.
What is that? So you have your master's degree, but
Yes.
you're
So
doing
I
this additional work.
I have a master's in sports psychology,
Okay.
and I'm now trying to obtain a certification to be what the designation is, a certified mental performance consultant.
Okay.
And that is through the Applied Association of Sports Psychology.
Okay.
So that deals with mainly with athletes,
Yeah.
and helping them with that mental side of the sport, their mental game, performing under pressure, just dealing with the grind of the season, team cohesion, confidence, all those things that
Rebounding.
go with exactly all those things that go with performance.
Yeah.
So it's not limited to athletes. A lot of sports psychology consultants, they work with business executives or exercise enthusiasts, really anywhere. So anything that deals with performance. So I've reached out to some of our teams and coaches to try and get some experience doing that. Part of the process of licensure is it's a mentorship program. So I have to complete 400 hours of mentorship work.
Okay.
So that's what I'm doing right now. Yeah.
Okay, so you got a bit of work ahead of you.
Yeah, long road,
but a good amount behind you. You've started working with kids and kind of applying this stuff.
Exactly.
And the goal of this, I want to make sure you're not leaving us.
No.
Okay, the goal of this one is to enhance what you already do here at the school.
Exactly.
But also to maybe branch out and use it. You said you can use it to kind of even in companies and professional settings.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I if I do, kind of stick with it, which I know I will, but I think I really want to work with athletes. So I'm definitely not looking to leave teaching at all, but it's something that I can use for teaching and coaching, incorporate that into my teaching and coaching, but then, reach out to athletes around here and teams around here at other schools and kind of get some, to just get some more experience in doing that.
I might call on you because my golf is really up and down.
All right, well,
really
see what we
up
can
and down,
do.
So I'll have to get some help with that. Describe to me, you talked about mentorship and really, through coaching and sports, a lot of it is just what you learn from others, what you steal, good ideas you steal from others, but that mentorship thing. You've worked with Coach Coleman. What are some things he's taught you? Because just I think this past year he was inducted into the Wrestling Hall of Fame.
National Wrestling Hall of Fame.
So you've been around some, that's a great person to learn from. What's something he's taught you?
What hasn't he taught me? It's more like it. As a newer coach, I look to him for almost everything that I do with our wrestling program. And I try and model what he's done with the high school program. He's soft-spoken, but he's a strong leader at the same time. He communicates with parents all the time, and I think that's something that's really important, is keeping everybody in the loop on the same page so that we're all in it together.
All ships in the same direction.
Exactly. So that's something, that consistency of always communicating with the parents and our athletes, making sure everyone's on the same page. And he really supports that team atmosphere and the fact that our team needs to support each other on and off the mat. So one thing that that's passed down to our middle school program is he says championships start in the classroom. So that hard work in the classroom, academics come first, and really living by that in the practice room and throughout the season, making sure that everybody does what they should be doing, and exemplifying those values and characteristics that we want in sport, taking them off and living by them. So.
Do you have a favorite sports quote or motivational saying that kind of guides you, or that maybe a coach or someone has said?
I don't know about a favorite. There's definitely a lot that I can recognize, relate to, and I think in different situations you pull on different quotes, but nothing comes to mind right now.
Yeah, but usually at some point during the season, you run into that book to try to hit a button with the team, or kind of quickly give the team kind of the sense of what you're doing.
Well, a quote that I do use often is from Steve Prefontaine, who was an Olympic track runner. Yeah, and he said, "To give anything less than your best is to sacrifice the gift." So I do tell my wrestlers that a lot in the pack, and even so we don't waste a practice. Every day we're looking to give our best. So that's something that one quote anyway that I like to use.
I often see wrestling teams. They come in, they got the logos. The hotter you sweat, the less you bleed, and they got those type of sayings on their shirts and stuff. What makes a person a good role model? Because I know character and those type of things is something that you infuse into the curriculum and kind of what you teach. It's not rolling kickball in the gym. You're kind of trying to infuse different character traits in kids. Yep. What do you think makes a good role model?
Yeah, I think everybody has a different idea of a good role model, and I think sometimes we can get off track with what a good role model is. And really, if we think about it, a good role model is just somebody that stands by their values and acts in accordance with their values. So, everybody, we might have different sets of values, and so that might lead us to identify with different role models and look up to different people. But a good leader is somebody that's going to live and act in accordance with those values. And again, when I'm looking at captains and things like that for my team, it doesn't really matter on personality styles or anything like that, but if they're going to stand up for what they believe in, stand up for their values, and act in accordance with them. There's another character saying that quote that says, character is what you do when nobody's looking. So I think that is what makes a good leader.
Yeah, and that consistency and people being able to count that whatever comes up, where this person is, or your captain's going to be on an issue, and you can count that they're going to be there on that issue, that position, whatever it is.
Definitely.
What's something that can't be taught but can only be learned with age that you've found?
There's a time and a place for everything.
Okay. Yeah, I guess you got to go through enough experiences.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think, people can tell you that, but I think you really have to know yourself and just live it to really understand that, there's a time and a place for everything. And, there's a time for being, goofing off, and there's a time for being serious. And
you got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them.
Exactly.
that type of thing. The gamble. So. Any movies? Is there a movie that you can watch over and over again? People tuning in, kids trying to get to know Mr. Mailer. Yeah. What's that movie that you can just watch over whenever it comes on?
Rocky.
Rocky. Okay, that makes sense.
I can never get enough of Rocky.
Follow-up question. Do you do push-ups?
Of course.
You got to even shadow box a little bit when Rocky comes on? Of course.
The one-handed, right?
Yeah, of course. Any hobbies that you have?
Hobbies, I have a few hobbies. I like to read in my spare time, fictional books, novels. I like to go outside and hike, get in touch with nature. Those are two hobbies that I like to do often. I'm interested in handiwork too and things like that. So
around the house, you're homeowner? Okay,
So,
if you're not interested,
learning new things, right? Exactly. So I like to learn new things about that. So
you always learn. Now, as we push towards the holiday season, and we're right up against it now, what is something that you look forward to? You're also a dad.
I am a dad. Yes.
How old?
He's my son was born July 2016, so he's about a year and a half now.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's getting fun, getting spoiled. Any particular thing you guys look forward to, or a family tradition that you grew up with that you're looking forward to, carrying on?
Well, I think this is going to be his first I mean, last Christmas he was a little too young to really realize what was going on. And this year I'm really looking forward to having him open up his presents and get in there. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, I bet it will. And you'll receive a well-deserved break, because I know you do a lot of work down in the gym during the school day. And I know it continues after school, working with all our athletes in the wrestling program.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.